What is the Internet of Things? Well, it's pretty much everything. If your refrigerator has a wireless connection in it, it's part of the Internet of Things. In my house, we have a Nest thermostat, which is part of the Internet of Things. I have smart TVs that access the internet and let me watch YouTube and Netflix, and this is part of the Internet of Things too. The other things that we have are things like traditional servers and laptops and desktops, your smartphone, your car. All of these things, wherever they are, they all seem to be online nowadays, and this is where the Internet of Things comes in. And you have to understand some of the technologies used by these IoT or Internet of Things devices in order to pass your Network Plus exam. So what are some specific Internet of Things technologies? Well, the first one is 802.11. Do you remember what that stood for? That's right, it's Wi-Fi, it's wireless networking. 802.11a, B, G, N, or AC, and we'll talk about all those letters later on, are all wireless or Wi-Fi. And you can operate those as either infrastructure mode or ad hoc mode. And if you have an Internet of Things device like a wireless speaker or a refrigerator or a thermostat, they can use that Wi-Fi to make connections back to the outside world. The second technology we're going to talk about is Bluetooth. And Bluetooth, as you can see in the upper right-hand corner on this blue keychain fob, can be used for all sorts of different things. Now, why would you want your keys to have a Bluetooth receiver in them? Well, maybe you lose them a lot. And this way you can use your cell phone to figure out where they are based on Bluetooth and their location because they're low-power devices, they're small, they're portable, and they use low energy as part of this Bluetooth variant. This allows it to be part of this mesh network as well. So your keys can talk to your cell phone via Bluetooth, and then your cell phone can connect over cellular to tell you where those keys are. The next one we have is RFID. And RFID stands for Radio Frequency ID. Now, if you've ever gone to a hotel room and you got a key like I show here on the screen, this key has a chip embedded in it. And it uses an electromagnetic field that when you put it next to the door lock, it reads the tag in the key and lets you in the room. The next one we have is what's known as Near Field Communication, or NFC. NFC is going to enable two electronic devices to communicate within about 4 centimeters of each other. So Samsung was actually one of the first to really use Near Field Communications for Samsung Pay, and devices like Apple Pay and Google Pay use that same type of technology. When you put your phone on the reader, it can read it through Near Field Communication and take payment from you. The next technology we have is IR, which stands for infrared. So if you take your remote for your TV at home, this probably uses infrared because it has a line of sight using an infrared frequency, and it uses these light beams to tell the TV which channel you want. This is how it's going to work. And Internet of Things technologies can use infrared as well, although it is a much older technology and not used very heavily by them. It is something that is available, and so I wanted to make sure you knew about it for the exam. Now, the next two technologies we're going to talk about are very common nowadays, and they're actually newer technologies that have really been made popular by the Internet of Things. The first one is Z-Wave. Z-Wave is going to provide you with a short-range, low-latency data transfer, and it's going to use lower power and lower data rates than Wi-Fi does. But again, you're trading off lower speed because you're getting lower power consumption. Wi-Fi can really burn up your battery pretty quickly, and so for Internet of Things devices, we try to save battery whenever possible. Mostly, you're going to find things like Z-Wave used for home automation. So for the exam, if you see a question that's talking about Z-Wave, I want you to think about home automation. Things like turning your lights on and off, turning sounds on and off, that kind of thing. All of that uses Z-Wave. The other technology we have is known as ANT+, A-N-T+. This is going to be a collection of transfer of sensory data. So if you're going to have a tire pressure system in your car, it may be using ANT+. It can also be used with remote control systems, things like tire pressures, TVs, lights, etc. So you can know what things are on and what things are off. Anything with a sensor in it is usually going to be something that's using ANT+. So some of this home automation stuff that we're talking about can be used either Z-Wave or ANT+, and it really could be either one. But if you're thinking more of sensors and collecting the temperature or how bright something is, that's usually more of an ANT+ thing. And Z-Wave, they're going to refer to things like home automation, just to keep things simple on the exam. And that's the idea of these Internet of Things technologies. So when you look at the Internet of Things, if you look at all of these devices and how they're connecting to our networks, and from a security standpoint, that's going to be a little frightening, right? And so when we talk about the security section later on, I want you to think about these Internet of Things. One of the ongoing jokes in the IT community is that security is what the S stands for in Internet of Things. Well, there's no S in IoT, right? There's no security in IoT, that's the joke. But from a technology standpoint, these things are pretty cool, right? We can do all sorts of cool stuff with them. I can pull out my cell phone from anywhere in the world and turn on the lights in my house, or arm my security system, or I can turn up or turn down the temperature using all of that automation. These are really cool technologies, but you have to also think about the security of them as you're thinking about how they're connecting to your network and how you want to keep the rest of your systems safe and secure.